Hello and a very warm welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about the real estate market on the beautiful Croatian coast. But I'm going to give you unfortunately 10 reasons why I think it is probably not the best market for real estate investing. So let's get straight down to it. Number one, it's very expensive, in particular in Dubrovnik, where a lot of people dream of buying property. Now in Dubrovnik's old town, you'll often find property at around 7,000 euros per square meter. And even outside of the old town, the center of Dubrovnik, property goes for around 4,000 to 4,500 euros per square meter. Anyway, a decent property does anyway. This is very expensive, in particular when you consider local salaries net per month are less than 900 euros. Now, there are better places on the coast where I think you can put your money. So Split is a better bet. So although salaries in Split are lower than Dubrovnik, the salaries are actually around 15% higher. Often you'll find real estate in Dubrovnik is twice as expensive as in Split. So I reckon that would imply that Split is a better place to put your money than Dubrovnik. Although at around 3,000 to 3,500 euros per square meter in Split for a good property, it's not cheap. That said, you can get some long-term yields in Split at around 3% gross. And it is, as I said, a major city with a population of 180,000. Now, I think a better place actually to put your money is Rijeka. So here in Rijeka, I think it's not too bad because the net salaries are roughly the same as Split, but prices in Split are around 80% higher than Rijeka. So that would imply perhaps Rijeka, I think actually Rijeka is a better place to put your money. And it is a fairly major city with 130,000 population. So you can get a decent property here for about 1,500 to 1,800 euros per square meter, ballpark figure. But I think Pula is actually even better. Now, Pula actually salaries are higher than in Split. But in Split, real estate prices are often double than in Pula. So at around 1,000, you can get property in Pula at around 1,500 euros per square meter. So I actually think, although it's a relatively small place at around 50 to 55,000 people, I believe, I think it is better value for money than Split. One place I think where I wouldn't put my money is Zadar, where the salaries are actually lower than Split, but property prices are actually not far off Split. Now let's come to reason number two. And reason number two for not investing is the relatively short rental season. So you're looking usually at around 5 months. Now I made a video recently on Madeira, and I think Madeira is a much better place for Airbnb because the weather is better all year round. Now, also I just wanted to add, short-term rentals do imply that you're not going to get good yields long-term investing in any really of the Croatian coastal cities. Number three, I want to talk now about the oversupply of Airbnb on the coast. Now, in the last few years, there has been quite a gold rush of locals buying property for Airbnb. So there is now a lot of competition here, which has lowered the prices for tourists when they want to stay on the coast in Croatia. Great for the tourists, but not so good if you want to buy property to rent out. Number four, I want to talk about the maintenance. So unfortunately in Croatia, it's difficult to find builders, handyman, as a lot of them work elsewhere in the EU because they get higher salaries. And it's actually also quite difficult to find cheap property maintenance companies as well. Number five, I want to talk about the shrinking population in Croatia. So in 1990, the population was 4.8 million. By 2020, this had gone down to 4.1 million. But by 2050, it's expected to go down even further to 3.5 million. And this is not good. If a population declines, this is not good for the property market. Number six, very important, I want to talk about the buying restrictions that you have in Croatia. So You can buy relatively easily if you are from the EU or an EEA country. However, if you're from a non-EU EEA country, you can only buy if there's a reciprocal agreement with another country in place. So for example, people, let me take a couple of countries from India, Georgia, and indeed, strangely from some states in the US, cannot buy real estate in Croatia. And do keep checking this as things do change. Now, I also read that citizens, I don't know if this has changed or not, I read an article from a few months back that citizens from Italy and Switzerland can only buy if they intend to settle in Croatia, which again is further restrictions. Also, if you are from a non-EU EEA country, or I think Switzerland as well, you will have to set up a company if you want to rent your property out. And I want to go back to, unfortunately, if you do have this agreement in place anyway, if a country does have an agreement with an EU, EEA country, a non-EU EEA country, I should say, with Croatia, you will still have to get approval from the Ministry of Justice if you want to buy a property. And this can be a lengthy process. It can actually take a few months. Now, number 7, I want to come to fraud. Now, unfortunately, it's getting better, but Croatia can be a messy market with fraud being an issue. So you must get yourself a good lawyer when you're buying property. Number 8, let's come to the high total government debt to GDP. Now, it had been falling from 2014, it was 85%, and it had fallen to 73% in 2019, but due to COVID, it's actually gone up to 88% as in 2020. So it's not very low, and this would imply perhaps in future taxes may go up. Number 9, I want to say also that Croatia, the Croatian coast, is a mature market. Now, it's great, tourism has gone up by nearly 50% from 2012 to 2019. But although, yes, I think numbers will increase, I think there are better markets in the future for tourism. So I want to name a couple where prices are much, much lower. So Montenegro is one, and Montenegro for me is equally as beautiful as Croatia, but the prices are much, much lower, and the scope for tourism growth is much, much higher. And also Albania as well. The coast of Albania is quite beautiful, and the prices are very, very low. You can often find beachfront properties for under €1,000 per square meter. So also Croatia is a little bit too dependent on, tourism. It's 25% of its GDP comes from tourism. So if tourism were to drop a little bit in future, this may depress, again, property prices. Number 10, I want to talk about the relatively complicated tax system. Now, with this, please do get yourself a good accountant, because tax in Croatia is changing all the time. So this year in 2021, it's actually good. Taxes have come down. And what I do like is that the rental income tax has dropped from 12% to 10%. And there is a 30% reduction for expenses as well. Now, this is for EU and EEA citizens who buy property here and rent it out. Now, as I said before, if you're from a non-EU EEA country, you're going to have to set up a company. But having said that, the corporation tax is quite low at 10% if you're turning over, I believe, less than 7.5 million kunas. And that will obviously be almost everybody who's renting their property out. So do really look at that. Now as well, if you sell your property within 3 years, you'll pay capital gains tax, quite a high percentage at 25%. But if you sell after that, you don't pay any CGT. But again, please get yourself a good accountant. Finally, I think if you do become tax resident and you rent your property out, there is what is called a local surtax, I believe, as well, where you're going to pay extra for rental income tax. Now, in Split, I believe it's 10%, Rijeka 6.25%, and Dubrovnik a massive 15%. But again, you need to look into this. Get yourself a good accountant. So these are my 10 reasons why I think you should not invest in the Croatian coastal real estate market. Although having said that, there are lots of great things about the Croatian coast, particularly where you have, you know, Split, Dubrovnik, amazing, beautiful cities. And what I like is that Croatia is also joining the Euro in 2023, or it's projected to anyway. It's becoming more stable. Unemployment actually has come down a lot in Croatia. In 2014, it was 17.3%, but as of 2019, it's dropped heavily to 6.6%. But having said that, you know, I don't think this is a market where you're going to make a lot of money in. I think it's more if you're able to buy property in Croatia, it is more of a lifestyle purchase. Anyway, please let me know your thoughts. Love to know if you're thinking of buying a property here, or if you've already bought here. Please let me know your experience. Anyway, that's it for today. Please, if you like this video, do click the like button. If you like my channel, please subscribe, and I'll see you very soon on the next video. Thank you and goodbye for today.